Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for your joining. I will assign you to the judges breakout room so you can meet the other judges.
Super. Thank you.
Are we all set to let the participants in? Perfect.
Yes.
If you can just rename yourself, Lilia, to judge. Thank you.
It's a good point. Thank you.
And Geraldine, they'll be sending you the training slides.
Perfect. I will let them in now.
Hello.
Hi, New Ways Consulting.
Hi. Hello.
So welcome to your presentation. So I'll just give a quick breakdown. So your presentation will consist of 15 minutes you will be presenting, and one of your team members will be sharing your screen, followed by a 15-minute Q&A session. After that, the judges will move into a breakout room, as well as you guys will move into a breakout room, as there will be a judges deliberation for 10 minutes. And then we will all come back to the main room for 10 minutes of feedback.
I'm sorry, Christine, I'm not sure if it's the same for all judges, but in the InnovaTank, it's not available for me now. It shows some old solution evaluation of something else.
It does, even if you refresh your screen?
Yeah, I just refreshed it. Yeah, I don't know if it's only me or if somebody else is in this.
Joe, Geraldine, are you having the same issue?
Where do we go? I'm at the front page.
And then you need to click on dashboard. and then evaluation.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I just want to make sure we're all set.
Yeah. No, mine's not working either.
Okay, 1 second.
Oh.
You don't see on your screen New Ways?
Yeah, I said I have it. New Ways Consulting.
Oh, I see that. For some reason, next to it, edit evaluation. So, okay, I see that. I don't know if I can put, yeah, okay, I think it works now.
Yep.
Geraldine, does it work for you?
No, but I'll come out and go back in, and hopefully I'll just score manually for now.
Okay, and Luca, if you can let them know, because I'll be timekeeping. And then we'll try and resolve that issue for the second presentation if you're still having trouble.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
So also New Ways Consulting, if you can just change your names to your team name and then your real name, and then someone can share their screen for the presentation. Yeah. Okay, and whenever you guys are ready, one of you can share your screen.
Yes, Lucas is presenting now.
There we go.
And
Right.
just
Is
so,
this visible for you guys?
yes, it is. And just for you guys, is this visible for you if I hold up the times?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So whenever you guys are ready, you may begin.
Is the video of yourselves blocking the screen, or can you guys not see that?
We can see it. You can see your screen.
Maybe.
Yeah, what happens when you're sharing your screen, it's the little Zoom bubble hovers over it, but we cannot see it.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so welcome and thank you for being here. Good afternoon or evening, depending on where you are. So we are very excited to show you our ideas, but before we start, I'd like to introduce us. So I'm Esther, my colleagues are Ilse, Lucas, and Lisa. Me and Ilse are we do the technical part, and Lucas and Lisa do the more economic and business part, and we are New Ways Consulting. So we want to consult you for new and innovative ways to improve this company. So next one, please. So first an introduction. So we have been working on a company, Workden. They are a co-working company. So we have been looking at what is going right and what's going wrong for them. So for instance, they do have the drinks, Wi-Fi and power plugs on all the working stations. But things that can be improved are soundproofing, communal environmental IDs, and a uniform and consistent way through all the places they work with. So that is what we've been working on. Next one, please. So our recommendation for the future is to put some kind of a thing around the working place that can really soundproof it, that can make it a private workplace, but also you can take it away and then it's more for communication. You are more open for communication. So we have a couple of ways of doing this, which can be applied to different settings. So depending on what kind of environment there is, what kind of place it is situated in, and the wishes of the customers, multiple different things can be put in order. So now we're going to show you our ideas. So the first one is some kind of lamp shape. You can put it over your head and then it is soundproof. So you can be very private. You can put it away, so to the top, and then it is more social. You can communicate with other people. Like I said, it's soundproof, so nobody will hear you if you don't want them to hear you. You can take it apart. You can take the standard and the shape itself, and you can take that apart so you can put it away very neatly. You can stack it. It's very simple to use for the customers. It can be produced in the colors of Workden itself, so orange. You can either set it up previously, or when a customer comes in, they can take it and set it up themselves. You can put it in either a high workspace or a lower workspace. It doesn't really matter how high off the ground you are. It's really about how high you are from the counter. And you can even put it on the chair. So now I'm gonna give the word to Ilse, and she will tell you about the rest of the products.
Yes, thank you. So the next product is a larger product to solve one of the needs or one of the problems of the customer, which is privacy, especially when you're having a private call and you're in a communal space, you want to keep it private. So these screens are mounted on wheels, which can be easily moved around, and you can put them before your desk, so around your desk, but you can also put one behind you as to making a closed off space. There can also be a table, a desktop easily slid into the frame, which makes it perfect to use in spaces where no tables or other furniture is already available. So this can be used, the right model on the right without the tabletop can be used in restaurants where tables are already present, and the left can be used, for instance, on in a gym or in a dance studio, which is even easier for that situation. This product is also drafted, so all the different screens can be put into each other, making it easier to store. Besides that, we have some innovative ideas. We thought of, would it be fantastic if you could come and get to work without getting a laptop or a mouse or a charger, like all these different products, and just come to the office with your phone. So in addition to this product you can come by with your phone, you can lend a tablet or a screen which you can connect to your phone using Google Docs. You can also borrow, you see on the left top corner is a laser keyboard. This is already a existing product and can be bought online. So that you can be entirely mobile and do choose your own workspace without coming with a huge bag, and just come in with a handbag and do your work. This is then the first product of this, the second product. Then we go to the third product. The third product is a product which can be placed on the desktop. So the product you saw here before is mostly made to put on the ground, and it's a higher product. This is supposed to be more mobile and can be put on a desk. It's based on an idea where you have glass or plastic which you can put a current on, and then when the current is active, the glass becomes unclear. So so on the left, you see that you cannot see through the glass. So it would be put on a desk and you cannot see around you. It is a easy space to work. And then when you put it in a charger, you put a switch on, it becomes clear and you can speak to people around you. This is especially perfect for the Corona situation. So it can be used for now, but also for in the future, making it more of a privacy screen. Yes, then Lisa will tell you something about the potential partners.
Yes, thank you so much, Ilse. Yeah, the potential partners. We were looking at what are they offering right now. They're offering a service from 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening. So what kind of surroundings are going to operate after 5 o'clock? We came up with the restaurants and the bars, and the other ones are the dance studios. The restaurants are mostly for the product 3, because then you have a smaller product you can set on the tables or on a bar. And the studios are more for the product 1 and product 2, because you set them on the ground. We also provide tables and chairs, so that's why that's easier. For the next slide, please.
Oh, 1 second. There we go.
Yes, thank you. We provide an environment where people can relax and get into work without being in the same room all the time, especially with coronavirus. You see that everybody is locked up in the room, always working, but sometimes you need a new space around you, a new environment to think clear and to come up with new solutions and new ideas, especially also on your office at work. Sometimes you just need another environment to think clear. That's why we offer the other surroundings. We also want to not only target people at the office, but also students, especially in the coronavirus. Everybody's in their room, working on school, and also students need a different surrounding to learn better, or also work with their students, with their companions, or to collaborate with a group project. That is why we offer students 25% discount in order to, because students are quite, they don't have a lot of money. The only thing is, for students, they have to go to the less approachable locations where nobody really wants to go, or it's just a little bit outside of the cities. Next slide, please. Now I'll give the word to Lucas.
Yes, thanks, Lisa. So on to some unique selling points of our product. We consider Workden to be the cheaper alternative to the more established organizations like WeWork and Regus. So they do this obviously by not buying their own real estate like large office buildings, but instead kind of following a similar business model as Airbnb, where certain businesses who do not use their location at sometimes during the day or during the week, and they can offer their space available for people to come and study or work. So that's another one of the unique selling points, is that it has flexible locations. So new ones are coming up really fast, and it doesn't require a large purchase of a big office building and that it completely gets renovated to become part of this organization. Another unique selling point is that it's a more informal atmosphere, which stems from being located in restaurants and bars and theaters and gyms. It's not as typical as, you know, your common office space, but it can be something a bit different and more fun. And finally, this business model obviously also produces extra revenue for the person who owns the real estate. So this can be the owner of the restaurants, or the person who owns the theater, or the people who own the gym. Next, how are we going to make sure that there is a similar branding in all the locations so that the customers know that they are at a Workden location? So one of the ideas we had was to play similar music in all locations. This is a bit more subtle, but it can be a similar genre or a similar type of playlist so that people recognize it when they are in one Workden location compared to another Workden location. Another point is that obviously the products that we will be supplying from Workden will all be the same color scheme and will be branded with our logo. So if it's a table or a chair from the restaurants, that'll obviously not have our branding. But if we're working in a theater and we need to supply the products that Lisa and Esther had shown before, then we create these and we can make our own colors and put our own brands on it. And another one we had is when we were looking at the switchable glass, so the glass that if you put some electric current through it, it becomes opaque. We saw that there are some really cool things that can be done with it. And so we thought it may be a cool idea to, if a person chooses to make it completely opaque, to still keep the logo of Workden transparent or something small like that. And finally, a bit simpler is just to keep a similar setup in all the locations. So also offer the same kind of drinks and just have the same objects, the same set up as all other locations. Now we're going to move on to the cost parts. In two parts, we have the startup costs and the maintenance and operating costs. So for the startup costs, for the new things that we are recommending we obviously need to build to some research into the materials that we want to use for the different products that we came up with. So this is the glass, the synthetic material, which we will make the divisions from. Also, how are we going to do the wiring, this kind of stuff. So we'll need to buy it, develop it, and build it. Other than that, we also have the costs which are already known within the company. So having the real estate, allowing to lend the real estate, marketing, but these are already all costs that are established within Workden. So now for the maintenance and operating costs, I'm going to pass the word back to Lisa.
Yes, thank you, Lucas. The maintenance and operating cost, of course, the marketing, it's about advertising. We want to approach new clients or customers, and that's why we also want to target through social media. So we want to do Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, and many more. Also, the subscription for day one is $9.99. For students is, for example, $7.50 because it's 25% discount. And for the maintenance and operation cost, the products that we provided, of course, they want to be in great shape when being used. So we want to make sure that they are at all times at a great shape. So that's also we have to see and then check every time if they're still in good condition. If not, they get replaced or fixed. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation and being here today. This was our presentation. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, New Ways Consulting. So we will begin the Q&A period for 15 minutes whenever you're ready, judges.
Guys, thank you very much. That was a really, really interesting presentation, and you've got some nice creative products in there. So well done. Really interested in what you produced. My question is going to be more on the business side. Okay. Lucas, you took us through the cost side of things there. Were you able to put any figures on the costs, either of on the product side, or you also meant to say you wanted to run a social media campaign for customers? And then the second part of my question is on the revenue side. So you said you're going to charge $9.99 per month, per day. Just a little bit more detail, please, on the costs and on the revenue side, if you have it, please.
Yeah, sure. So for the costs, we don't have any exact figures yet. We did a bit of preliminary research, but it was quite difficult because we saw many different, for example, for the electronic glass, the switchable glass, we saw many different figures depending on which website we went to. And then also the website incorporated the cost of the middleman and also didn't give us any idea on bulk discounts for a large company like this. If we order 10,000 units, it's going to be much cheaper than what's advertised on the website. So no, we have some vague ideas how much it would cost per square meter for like small purchases, but we didn't want to. No, we didn't want to put any figures in there yet, as long as if they weren't realistic for our size. Yeah. So, and then your second part was about the revenues, I believe.
Revenue side, yeah.
Yeah. So the $9.99 is per day, I believe, and another option was €100 a month, which allows you to go to any location. So the student discount would also be $7.50 per day. So that allows you to be in one location for a day. Yeah.
Yeah, there are actually 3 options. You have day 1, it's $9.99. For 5 days, it's $34.99, and for unlimited, it's $99.99.
90.
Yeah, sorry, $99.
$99. Yeah, gotcha. And then how much of that does the, say, restaurant or dance studio get?
It depends on the location and depends on how big the space is. But that is something we still have to figure out.
Okay.
Yeah, it really depends on the location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super.
Also
Thank you, guys. Well done.
I'll go. I just have a couple of questions. First of all, very good, innovative solutions. They were out of the box and good thinking. And how do you develop a privacy space for somebody sitting in a restaurant can be difficult. So you came up with some good solutions. The lampshade one. Can you put the slide back to your lampshade? I'm sorry, I'll call it the lampshade because that's what it looked. You called it that.
Yeah, we call it.
The construct of that, what would you see it? Is it a fabric? Is it also covered at the top, or is it open at the top, or what was your thought on that?
Sorry. Yeah, so we see it as open at the top because then you don't feel like you're in too much of an enclosed space. But still, only by being surrounded on the sides, there's already a very big soundproofing. And also by it being open on the top, you don't feel like you're being in a cave, you know? So that is how we are seeing that. It's just simply clicked on the table and you can move it very easily because of the construction of the arms.
Mhm.
So you can move very easily or wherever you want it to be, how high you want it to be. So if that answers your question.
Yep. Yeah. And then on the next slide, you had your mobile shades, which are very, would you see that as a fabric as well? I like the idea that you offered where you can enclose an individual if you wanted some privacy. Might be a bit tight, depends on the size of it, but what would that be? Would that as well be a fabric, or would you see that made out of a melamine or some other type of material?
We would like to use fabric because it obviously observes sound.
Mhm.
However, if it's used, for instance, in a restaurant and they have to put it in storage together with other foods and liquids, it will probably get dirty. So you probably use plastic, so it can be easily cleaned. Also for Corona, obviously, for hygiene purposes as well.
Okay. And how would these store in a restaurant? You would need to have them either in a stackable fashion or in a collapsible. So would these be collapsible, or do they pile one into the other?
They pile into the other. They're not collapsible because this is a more rigid structure, but they can fit into each other like cups because they're drafted.
Okay.
I have a few questions. Are you finished, Joe?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So part of the appeal of this business is to allow customers to work, but also socialize and meet other people also working. How do you envision this happening post-pandemic? After the pandemic is over, how can this balance be achieved?
Yes, I think that's more something for the third product. Yes, so this product, this is a product which is put on the table. It's in front of you, but also beside you. And one of the perks of it is that you can make it clear so that you can also communicate with other people and look around and just get the vibe of the room. But this is something which is portable. So our idea was that there would be a crate or a place at the beginning of the restaurant or the location, and then people could pick their own products. So for instance, if they would like to work more private, they could pick up the screen. But if they would not pick up the screen, they could just sit on the table and just communicate with others. But this would be something interactive that if it's clear, people know, oh, okay, they are approachable right now.
Okay, thank you. And I have another question. How do you envision this business working, the setup in the short term during the pandemic and in the mid and long term after we get through the pandemic and people don't have to wear masks and can socialize freely? Do you think of a difference in the setup requirements or in the way the business is going to operate?
Yeah,
Probably, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay. So probably at the first stage, everybody's going to be very private. So everybody's going to need some sort of product to cover themselves and to for the social distancing. At some point, if it's not necessary anymore, I think people will voluntarily find each other again. And as a result, maybe less products are needed at any place to really shut everybody up. So it's only needed if you want to be private. But then also in the future, the company will probably grow. There will be more locations, so more products will be needed. So as a result, even though at one location less products are needed, in total more products are needed. So in that way, they won't go to waste.
Yeah, in addition to that, we would like to include, with the idea of including the students into this workspace, we would like to also create an educational environment. So putting business owners and entrepreneurs together with students, and then hoping that a conversation would start. We also had an idea of making a cocktail hour at the end of the week, for instance, that if you come by, you get a discount, but also people can connect. So students can connect with entrepreneurs, and then this learning environment exists.
Okay. So events could be planned after the pandemic is finished, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one more question. The case also talks about the relationship between consumer type of customers and businesses, and how consumers actually help getting larger businesses, larger companies to become customers. Yeah. What is your vision? How do you plan to capitalize on that connection? I understand students could be considered consumers, but there are other types of individual workers that, according to the case, help the company grow its business organizations as customers.
So your question is, how do we capture more of these customers, just the working class people?
Yeah, exactly. Because the goal here is to grow the company, right? It's just still very small. So the case mentions that there is consumers actually serve as a catalyst for growth of business customers. So how are you planning just to capitalize on that relationship?
Well, I think that it kind of has a network effect, where as we get more businesses, it will create more locations, which can pull in more people. So let's say you're living in a location where there isn't our service yet. As we get more and more restaurants and bars and theaters and people working with us, our area of operation expands, and that just keeps on bringing more and more people in. I'm not sure if that answers your question or not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions from the judges for New Ways Consulting?
Yeah, I guess, I suppose my question for you guys, is there anything else that you would like us to take into account that you didn't get over in your presentation, or a question that you've prepared for there that we haven't asked?
Yeah, one of the aspects we haven't included in this presentation was we came up with a storage box idea, or a container. So a shipping crate on wheels, for instance, could be delivered to a shop consisting out of different products depending on the store or location. So this would also include, for instance, power banks, which customers could lend, but also tablets or other essentials. And we also thought of a QR system connected to an app where the customer could scan the product, which also obviously is registered on their identity card and their bank account, and they can use it and also put it back. So making the space more flexible depending on the person's needs.
But it's kind of Workden in a box, kind of.
Yeah.
And
also
very nice.
For the
yes, that's what I'm thinking. Everything can go into it, yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
a flexible, portable working space.
So it made me think of another question, the way you were answering that one, is how does one reserve a workspace? So what's your thought on reserving a workspace? So maybe somebody thinks there's a location available in downtown Montreal. He or she shows up. It's all filled up. The space provided by the restaurant or the hall or whatever is all used up. How do they know, and how can they reserve a spot to ensure that they have it with what they require, the screens or connections, etc.? Are you looking at?
We actually thought of that. Through the app, you can reserve a seat in a specific location. Once it's all full, it turns red. When it's half full, it turns orange. And when there's enough space for everybody, it's green. And we also advise the students to go to the green places. So that's like, yeah, for them, it's easier.
Yeah, and so when you enter a location, you can scan the QR code so that you're present. So when you reserve a spot, it will be reserved for a few hours. But when you do not show up or scan the QR code, the spot comes back into the system so that someone else can take that spot. So when they arrive, they can scan the QR code and also scan the products they use, and it will all be registered in the app. So if someone looks at the location, they can see, okay, 4 tablets are available, 5 seats, 3 power banks, so that they will, so that they can prepare for the work session.
Okay. Well, thank you. You've answered my questions.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
That's it for me.
Yeah, I think I'm all good. I'd like to say from me, that was really, really interesting. I think you've done a great job in a very short space of time. I think there's many organizations who'd be delighted to take some of your ideas on board and see how difficult, hard, costly, etc. they would be to develop. So well done from me.
Yeah, well done.
All right, so
Thank you.
Thank you, New Race Consulting. So now the judges will go into deliberation for 10 minutes. So if everyone can please join their respective breakout rooms.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
So is everyone, I believe everyone is here. So we will begin the 10-minute feedback portion. Judges, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I can start. All right, guys. I just want to commend you on your engineering solution. I think it was unanimous among judges that you guys showed creativity and your solution was interesting and practical. There are a couple of points that I would like to bring to you that perhaps you can think about them and learn from them. The presentation would have benefited from a clear problem statement up front. If you could just bring us all on the same page by telling us what the business objectives are, briefly what the current situation is before you get to the solution. Yeah, that would have been very useful. Yeah, to start with the actual problem first. For branding, I just, you gave a couple of ideas for branding on the business side, right? Some of them were strong. Others, for example, music, right? The same music everywhere. It would have been useful to account for the fact that that the case actually states that the uniqueness of atmosphere of every location should be preserved. Yeah, and also not everybody likes listening to the same type of music. So you just needed to consider that. Yeah, there should be some standard, but at the same time, there should be some uniqueness from one location to the other. And now consumer customers versus business customers. You guys did a great job thinking about students as consumers. Would have been helpful also to consider that individual workers who are traveling, and the case talks about it as well, are consumer customers, right? And they are the ones who actually talk about the company to their bosses, to their colleagues, and that's how the company is able to acquire business customers with a lot more potential revenue. Yeah, so that issue could have been explored a little bit more, because if you capitalize on that, it's going to be very beneficial for the business. And what also would have benefited the presentation a lot if you provided some more elaboration on financials. Yeah, some financial statements on the slides showing us revenue that the company can generate, maybe during the pandemic and after, the bottom line, the profits that potentially it could gain, estimates. Of course, the case doesn't give those numbers, but it would have helped to show a little bit of thinking in terms of the future financials. Okay, and other than that, your presentation had a good flow. You guys worked synergistically as a team, so we were able to see that too. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Guys, for me, the Dublin jury, listen, absolutely, as I said already, really well done. That was excellent. To back up what Lilia said there, I actually work in innovation, and when we see these pitches from either startups looking for money or from internal startup companies in our organization, we always ask them to start by explaining the problem that they are trying to solve. So my advice to you is, as you proceed through this, make sure you are clearly understanding what the problem is that you are solving, and that you articulate it at the very, very beginning of your presentation. Your overall solution from an engineering perspective was really good, very creative. In fact, you had a number of engineering solutions there. So like really well done, and you thought through those very well. But just at the very beginning, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? You've got to bring that out. And it doesn't need to be very, very long. It's just to kind of settle everybody down. It just sets the scene for what you're going to be talking about. So as I say, the engineering side, the creativity piece, really good. You considered COVID, and you did consider beyond COVID as well, particularly with your product number 3. And I actually really liked the Workden in a box proposal that Isla brought up later. The partners, you identified restaurants and bars and or dance studios, right? So my question would be, right, say I had a restaurant and I'm considering maybe getting Workden in a box into my restaurant because I only open at night. Would I be making any money out of it? Or would it just be an awful lot of trouble for me? So I think that side of things you needed to really think through the business side of this. So who are these partners? What's in it for them? And then, as Lily has also said, then on the who's going to be paying the money, yeah, you could have students, you could have individuals as well, but would a corporate customer consider buying one of your packages, and if so, why, and what would you be offering them? So you just, as it was stated in the case, the B2B piece, but that piece didn't come through. And then obviously, Lucas, we spoke a bit about the money side of things. Again, you're going to have to ensure that you have some numbers. At the end of the day, this is a business proposition. So for it to make sense from a business perspective, it's got to make money, and you've got to demonstrate how. And I know it's particularly difficult. So maybe what you could have done is taken one of your engineering solutions and tried to cost it rather than trying to do all of them. That would have been a really good start. But overall, I have to say, you did a really good job. You worked really well as a team. You handled your questions well. So I hope those pointers will be of use to you as you move forwards. Okay.
Thank you.
You're on mute, Joe. Unmute your mic, Joe.
Been doing that so often today. Thank you. Like my colleagues have said, you guys did a very, very good job. You presented well. And one of the things I enjoyed or I liked is your slides didn't have too much wording on them. You had the image and then you had a couple of keywords and then you talked about the slide versus grabbing our eyes and making us read it. So that's how, in our company, how they prefer presentations to be made at the senior level. Less words, more pictures worth 1,000 words. Your solutions were excellent. They were literally out of the box, and you thought them out, you thought them through. Like Geraldine said, maybe taking one of them and exploding it from a cost perspective. Like, I know you didn't have much time, you had a few hours to do all of this, but just to get an appreciation as to how much money it would cost to develop one, or come up with an estimate as to your best guess and your best gut. We're not going to hold you to it and ask for all the estimates from your vendors and everything else, but just give us an appreciation of how the price is, because consider yourself going to a Dragon's Den where you're looking for some funding for your startup. And if you don't have the financial backings, the people who have the money aren't going to give it to you because they don't know when they're going to start seeing a return on their investment. So as a business owner, you have to see where the bottom line is. Am I waiting 5 years to return a profit? If so, maybe it's worth the risk, and then we'll see in 5 years. The other thing that was missing, I found, is how you not only attract your new customers and then grow them to attract their companies, their partners, their friends. How do you treat your partners, like the restaurants, the hotels, the other institutions that you're going to use? Like Geraldine says, what's their cost ratio? They have to pay for somebody to go in there and brew coffee and bring water and serve, etc., keep the place open. But we have to figure out, you have to consider those costs when you're developing a cost model like that. But you know what? In the time you had, very good. I'm very happy with it. You guys came up with solutions that were very innovative, I gotta say. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Guys. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, New Ways Consulting.
Sorry, I just, when Joe was talking there, I just thought of one more thing for you, right? So the costing piece, right? Because you were saying, you're looking on these websites and there's all these different costs. And you're like, I don't know which ones to pick. So what you do, just make an assumption. You can state your assumption. It may be incorrect, but you've just got to kind of say, right, so these are the numbers we're going to use and these are the assumptions that we're making, and that's okay. I mean, assumptions are assumptions, and a plan is never any use after the day it's written anyway. So it's just to try and get you beyond that boundary of we weren't able to do it, because you definitely are able to do it. You've done the research, and just by having the numbers on a page will actually demonstrate the work that you've done. Okay,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best, guys.
Thank you.
All the best.
New Ways Consulting.
Thank you, guys. Go to rest now.
Yeah.
You will. Thank you.
Thank you.
So judges, if we can just move, because we're on a YouTube live stream, if we can just move to the other room to finish inputting scores on Innova Tank.
Okay, I can see him now.
Here. And hi, Volt Consulting. Just friendly reminder, if you guys can name yourselves on Zoom to your team name and then your names. So just a quick reminder, welcome to your presentation. So the presentation is going to be 15 minutes long, followed by a 15-minute Q&A period. Then after, we'll move into separate breakout rooms where the judges will have a 10-minute deliberation period. And then we will all come back to the main room for a 10-minute feedback session. So I will be showing placards. Are these visible for everyone?
Yep. Yeah.
So I'll be showing placards, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left, and then I will show when you have 0 minutes left. So when the presentation is done. So one of you can share your screens and then we can get started.
All right, whenever you're ready. Are we just starting in here?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. All right, welcome everybody. My name is Colton, and with my colleagues Greg, Fat, and Tom, we are here to present our solution for Workden. So first off, I want you to meet Ryan and Sarah. Ryan is a digital marketer, and Sarah is a restaurant owner. Right now, Ryan's life is primarily spent online, and a lot of time is spent sitting at a desk. He's concerned that he won't have the working environment to meet his needs if he were to translate to something that was in a shared workspace. Sarah, on the other hand, her business has slowed down due to the COVID-19 pandemic and is worried that becoming a host of a shared workplace will negatively impact her business operations. So both are weary of the shared workplaces because they feel it will negatively impact their work. The problem statement we've identified here is Workden needs to establish new partnerships with workplace hosts and continue to grow the community of remote working professionals across North America. Our opportunity. We want to create a working environment that is conducive to both remote workers and business owners. Criteria to evaluate this: workplace safety, improved business operations, flexible workplace, and financial feasibility. We will discuss our solution and the impacts a little bit later in this presentation. To begin with, I did a SOAR analysis. We're going to be focusing on two aspects of the SOAR, the opportunities and results. We can see that there is a need to establish cleaning and safety protocols to ensure that COVID-19 pandemic is at top of mind. We also have opportunities to create marketing for hosts to drive more traffic to businesses and create various working environments for the different types of remote workers. That being said, this could result in businesses benefiting from increased foot traffic and brand awareness, creating larger community engagement through public workplaces, and community workers will have the opportunity to pick a location and work environment that meets their needs. This all results in creating a different workplace environment that gives options for remote workers and Workden to expand their markets and to do more reach.
So our recommendation is to provide different kit for different type of workers. So for each of the kit, we have quiet kit, which is a kit designed with you in mind, a private kit, which is a kit designed around privacy and peace of mind, a dynamic kit, which is a kit designed for the networker in you. So first, I'll go over the quiet kit. So it is a 12-foot by 10-foot space, which can serve as a small meeting space as well as an independent quiet working place. The reason for this kit is because it offers quiet place for conversation, a quiet workspace, and it offers flexibility for independent workers. For this kit, the resources that we will need is a soundproof portable panels, office accessory, portable printer is available upon request, table and chairs, utility cart, and power bar. So how are we going to implement this? Well, we're going to source venues that cater towards quieter environments. We're going to advertise toward clients who prefer private, quiet working place. We also offer an alternative income source and brand promotion for the host. We will use soundproofing portable panels to act as room dividers. So this kit would meet our flexible workplace and financial feasibility criteria. Our kit cost is about $595 per kit. This gives us our critical insight of providing clients with a comfortable, flexible, quiet, and private workplace.
So now we have the private kit. So what is the private kit? They're basically private rooms to host private company meeting or teleconference that can fit anywhere from 6 to 20 people, depends on the locations. And why do we create the private kit? We want the client to host a comfortable professional meeting environment without the concern of leaking confidential information. And the resources that are required for the private kit are chairs and table, a projector, screen, a TV, portable printers, office accessories like pen, pencil, paper, staple, and power parts. So how can we create a private kit? So first of all, we choose the restaurant that we collaborate with will have their own private rooms already, and we will use that room equipped with the equipment required by the clients like projector, screen, chairs, table, office accessories, and make it into a meeting room. And the private kit will offer the client a professional, comfortable meeting environment while preventing confidential information from leaking. And the capital cost required for the private kit is $685. So in conclusion, the private kit provides members of Workden a safe and comfortable environment for private meeting.
Thirdly, we have what we call the dynamic kit. So this is a kit that's made for people that have work that's very social, people that have work that requires a lot of presentations and a lot of networking. So this is going to have a semi-isolated space, but allowing in-person interactions. This targets people that are needing to present a lot, and people who need presentation tools. And to facilitate these presentations, we are providing all the electronics necessary to be doing that if someone in this particular kit or in this room needs to present. So that includes a TV, TV stand, all of the HDMI cables, that is super easy to connect your laptop to the TV, and numerous power bars and extension cords as well. So it's very easy to just set up your workspace and go. So how will this achieve our goal? Well, this will cater to that sector of the public and the working force that actually needs a social environment, or at least a fairly social one. It could contain people that are part of one company, or people that are from different companies that use it to network, or people that invite clients to their office. Now, the criteria that it meets is that it focuses on workers that have a very large amount of social interaction, so it caters to them. And our kit cost is about $800 for this. That's the estimated total.
Jumping into a little bit of a long-term recommendation here. So this is down the road. We say that having various kit types stored across North America could help to reduce shipping times and costs associated with onboarding new hosts. To do this, I'd say 10 pre-made kits, 3 quiet, 4 dynamic, and 3 private to be stored in major hub cities around the world, around North America. Building off a little bit of financial breakdown here. So I can see each kit, $595, $685 for the private kit, and then $800 for a dynamic kit. And this is just a breakdown of everything that went into those kits. In terms of revenue and overhead costs, so as for your website, you have a $9.99 one-day pass, $34.99 5-day bundle, and then a limited month for $9.99. Overhead costs that would be associated with the venue fee, 5% times daily users, and 2% times daily users for refreshments costs would be given to the hosting venues to cover their overhead. USP. So here we're going to talk about what customers want, what you do well, and what your competitors do well. In the end, you can see that right in the middle here where it meets, this is the USP point. And for yourself at Workden, you actually are creating various pricing options for different usage needs and have a very fine attention to detail when it comes to accessing fast and reliable Wi-Fi, as well as kind of creating a sustainable and welcoming environment.
So the first risk that is associated with this solution is that government restriction is still in place to prevent indoor gatherings in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. For this risk, the likelihood is relatively high because the COVID-19 situation is still very serious right now, but the consequence is kind of low. And to mitigate the risk, we will continue to operate in allowed regions while creating a marketing campaign to increase Workden brand awareness and host venues. Our second risk is data privacy and cybersecurity of our clients. For this risk, the likelihood is kind of low, but the impact, the consequence is relatively high. And to prevent this risk from happening, the Wi-Fi connection that we provided to our customer can only be accessed through a unique login names and password.
So this brings us to the important question, which is how will this impact Ryan and Sarah? Well, Ryan, who is a digital marketer, is going to be excited to have options when it comes to share workplace and enjoys networking with other remote workers. Sarah, who is a restaurant owner, is now happy that she can choose which kit works best with her business and therefore would bring in the clientele that she values. Both are now happy with the environment that they are able to work in and encourage their networks to consider becoming Workden members. For our executive summary, our objective is to create a working environment that is conducive to both remote worker and business owner. Our 4 criteria that we evaluated are workplace safety, improved business operation, flexible workplace, and financial feasibility. Our solution is to implement a workplace startup kit that sets business up for success when they're becoming a workplace host. Our solution creates options to fit the different needs of remote workers, as well as benefit all parties involved. And that will conclude our presentation today. Thank you for listening to us. We are happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Wolf Consulting. So judges will begin the question period whenever you're ready for 15 minutes.
I can start. I'd like to ask you about branding. As the company continues to grow, how are they going to ensure that their brand message is consistent across different locations? What would be their signature point that customers will recognize that they're dealing with this company?
I can jump on this question. I think the best way of explaining a brand and brand identity is to look at the consistency that goes along with the product or service that you're offering. So with this solution that we've chosen to move with, it's not a one size fits all. It's kind of we're doing what we need to stay ahead of the pack. And that means that we're becoming adaptive. I think that adaptivity there is what's really going to set this brand apart and have people aware of like who they are. That being said, obvious things along the lines of having partnerships and host venues registered on their website so people know where they can go, as well as branded power bars, cups, simple things like that would just kind of enhance the actual experience for the consumer.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi guys, great presentation, so well done. Question from me. I really liked the way you opened with your use of personas to describe the problem that you were solving. And I liked the way then your products were aligned to the personas. The bit I'm not clear about is, so the quiet kit is 595, private 685, and dynamic 800. Who is bearing the cost of the kits? So if I'm Sarah, the restaurant owner, am I paying for the kit, or our Workden thing for the kit. Can you explain that piece of the business model to me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Workden would be the one that is actually has all the cost of the kit themselves, so they do own the kit. That being said, the only cost that Sarah or a restaurant owner or venue owner in specific would actually incur is any cost that's associated to business operations on their own. Everything else would be Workden's property. And that kind of goes into the long-term solution of a recommendation of having different kits located across North America in major hub cities.
Yeah.
Which would be Workden's property as well, just making it easier to get into new host venues.
So again, so say I'm Sarah, and I have a booking for tomorrow, and the person wants a private kit. That gets shipped to me and then taken away again, or?
No, the idea behind it actually is to match the venue itself with the type of kit. So take Sarah, for example. Sarah wants it's a restaurant, and she believes it's to be kind of in the middle ground. So she'd be more of the quiet kit where you can get work done, have comfortable seating, but it's not necessarily going to be a large communal tables, having areas where people are louder. So it's matching the venue to the kit themselves, and the kit stays at the venue as long as they choose to be a host.
Okay. And the last question on this then, so am I, Sarah, setting up this kit every day, or is somebody from Workden coming and doing it for me? You know, how long will it take to do?
No, so it's designed to be done in 5 minutes. Everything actually is on a cart. So, and that just kind of includes whatever needs to be put out that day. There's also things like with Workden, they encourage their hosts to have coffee and tea. It's kind of part of their package there. So that also needs to be set up. But as for anything that needs to be out there for the Workden members, it's all on one cart or on the TV stands, which can be wheeled in and wheeled out of storage. And that would be the restaurant manager or owner doing that.
Okay, super, thank you.
Hi guys, good presentation, thank you. Quick question. I didn't see any visuals on your solutions, like for the quiet kit, how you're going to do this soundproofing, and projectors and stands and TV stands are okay, but how are you going to isolate, potentially bad word, but how do you ensure segregation from one person to another, especially in the times that we are in COVID?
So I can answer this question. So when we are looking up for soundproof form, we found that they can come in different colors. And what we are thinking of is, if you look at the room divider on the right, so instead of having these bland room divider, we're going to have a layer of soundproof in the middle, which is being covered over by a layer of fibers, like silk or something that can see through. So the different form colors could come in as a design, but also offer soundproof effect for the room.
Okay. So that was one. And so this would have been nice to have seen as part of your solutions, because you're explaining it. And I was just missing how you were planning on doing these various kits, etc. So in your marketing approach, how are you going to be marketing this to the B2C or the B2 consumer, and then having your consumer then promote it to his friends or his bosses, etc.? Is there, other than a word of mouth, is there a marketing plan? Is there a social media campaign going to be planned, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. I can jump in on this one. I think with any sort of marketing plan or marketing communications approach, it has to be specific to the venue. So this would be Workden actually working with each individual venue on what works for them. So like we were talking about with matching the kit to the venue, you also have to match the clientele and the members to the venue as well. So say you're looking at someone who prefers a private type of atmosphere, something that's a little bit more secluded. That's where you're going to look at actually targeting marketing to law firms or those who require a little bit more space and a little bit more privacy and security when it comes to it. So this could be done through Google ad campaigns, social media campaigns, website, driving traffic via just like foot traffic and word of mouth. I think those are the best way to describe marketing campaigns there.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question. Have you guys thought about the future from financial growth point of view? Right now, the company has 4 locations. Have you thought how much they can grow to what number of locations going forward after the pandemic, or in terms of revenue projections? Do you have any ideas or vision on that?
Yeah, I think with the way I look at this is the way that the pandemic is shaping the world right now, it's there's still a lot left to be answered. So without moving ahead too abruptly, you want to make sure that we see where the world's going to go when all these offices that are now shut down and people working from home, are they going to choose to work from home, or are they going to choose to go out and actually enjoy some different environmental stimuli than just sitting in front of your computer all day? These are all important questions that need to be answered before really pushing ahead. I do believe that there is a potential for more growth. I wouldn't say that it's going to be expansion into the hundreds of thousands of people, but there is expansion opportunities for both businesses to drive more traffic to the store and to the venues themselves, and for Workden.
Okay, thank you.
For me, again, guys, back to the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So you did, you showed us the various price points for the person renting the space. And on that slide, yeah, to the right-hand side, your overhead costs. So this 5% or the 7% is paid by Workden to the, say, restaurant owner. Am I correct there?
Yeah, to the venue owner there.
So you're operating on a 93% margin.
Yes. Yeah. For the that's for Workden themselves. Obviously, having more traffic to, say, a restaurant is going to help increase their margins. It's not just going to be the 7% that they're receiving off of the daily users, increasing the number of people that are talking about it. Maybe people are staying for lunch, enjoying a beverage after work. Things like that are all going to aid in the business operations of a venue itself.
Yeah, but like, to go back to Sarah again, so if I have one person coming in, just take worst case scenario, one person in, or even 10 people in for the day, right? Say 10. So Workden is making $93 and I'm making $7.
Yeah, if they're on unlimited monthly, the way that the revenue
but that's the daily, that's the daily fee, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it all depends on what kind of membership they're on. And this, so say they're on a monthly one, that would be actually prorated out to the 30 days. So 30 divided by the $99.99 or X amount of days in the month, times that by 7%.
So why would Sarah do this when Sarah has to pay for the fiber, for the coffee, for the electricity, for the cleaning, for somebody to set everything up?
It's at this point, it's a marketing tactic, and it's about getting her name out there. The opportunity for growth on an individual level is all kind of like what you put into it is what you get out of it. If Sarah believes that her venue could be a great hit for something like this, it's all about what added values can you put into the program itself, working with Workden or on her own as it is, and using that to help drive more sales. The restaurant industry doesn't necessarily have a very large revenue stream that comes in. So any little bit that drives new traffic is a potential revenue source for them.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. I have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I have all of my queries covered off here. Sorry, just there's one other question I wanted to ask. In the case, there's quite a bit of information given around the social responsibility of Workden. Did you consider that at all in your proposal here?
As in corporate social responsibility, so looking at like CSR. I think that with that, it's not necessarily something that was actually at the forefront of our decision here. The nice thing about businesses nowadays, I believe that everyone has a social responsibility that's already built in to their daily operations and how they're actually operating. So it is something that could definitely elaborate more on with this venue operations. You can't necessarily change how a business is operating. If you want to also get into that venue, it's kind of a give or take at that point. If you're not a fan of their how they're handling social responsibility.
Okay, no, that's great. Thanks a mil, guys. That's all good for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now we'll just move into our respective breakout rooms for a 10-minute deliberation period. All right, I believe everyone is here. So we can begin the 10 minutes of feedback. Judges, whenever you're ready.
I can start if you don't mind. Okay, guys, so there are many good things about your presentation. I'm going to start with points that I really liked. I think you got the problem right. You read the case, you understood what it's mainly about. Your focus was mainly on a business side. Maybe a little bit more thinking was needed on the engineering, creativity, innovation side. It's good that your approach was interesting of adapting different products or services to different types of customers, different types of users. So different kits were interesting. And it's very good that you thought about cost and you introduced the breakdown of cost and you thought about it in depth. Would have been great and beneficial if you also thought about financials from a big picture perspective and introduce some kind of growth projections, because you recognize that the goal of this business is to grow. It came through in your problem statement. Would have been good if you finished that thought and gave us some kind of projections for the future, maybe what if scenarios as well, knowing that the pandemic creates certain uncertainty, right? The case did give some projected growth even for years ahead. So you could have used those numbers as an assumption. Yeah, and you could have operated with that assumption to give us some kind of projections for this company's growth within that sector. Yeah, using numbers from the case. It's good that you guys took an approach of analyzing risks. That was a nice add-on. In terms of marketing, branding, you could have thought about it a little bit more specifically, provided specific examples, because it did say in the case specifically that they want to be consistent, even though each location is different. So it would be interesting to see how and have some kind of a marketing plan here. I think that's it for me. Overall, it was stronger on the business side, I found, than the engineering side. And there were some good points in your presentation. I'm done.
Okay, so I'll just give you some feedback as well, guys. So well done, really great presentation. I enjoyed it. I think that visually you presented very well, nice clean slides, nice layout. So well done to whoever the designer was there. Your problem statement, what's the problem you're trying to solve? It was really good, well outlined, well presented. And nice that you brought that back at the end of your presentation. But what I would say is on the exec summary piece, you need to be careful you're not reading the slide when you're presenting, okay? It just, and the people you're presenting to have read everything that's on the slide before you've managed to say it, and then they're just getting a bit bored waiting. So be careful that if you're putting, you don't need to put every word you're going to say on the slide, is the point. So you might put in a single word and then you can use the rest as a voiceover. So just try and make sure that you don't speak to the actual slide, because it as I say, the people at the presentation will read faster than you can speak. So that's just a tip. I liked your SOAR analysis. I thought that was really good. And on the products, in my questioning, you saw I was a bit confused. I couldn't quite figure out how it was working. I think you missed a trick. Your private kit was really neatly designed for companies to have offsite meetings. So it was a really obvious kind of target market, and you didn't nail that one, right? So your entire focus in terms of people who were going to pay were just individual workers, whereas actually in your product, you had a perfect product there for a company to use. So for me, you missed a bit on your market side. I liked your risk analysis. On the financials, you did such a good job. You did so much work in figuring out the costs and how much you were going to charge. And I'm guessing you ran out of time a little bit. The whole thing just didn't line up for the restaurant owner, for the small business owner. And I think what you probably could have done is watch your time management, right? So make sure that when you're doing these, you leave buffer at the end to go back over, iterate one more time, and make sure that you've lined everything up. But you did, overall, I think you did a really good job. Just a few small pieces and you should be able to nail it. But just make sure, as I think Lilia said, the engineering side was light, but a lot of that information was in your appendices, so you need to bring that out. Like, don't be afraid of it. But yeah, well done from me.
Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah. Congrats, guys. Good presentation. Thank you. When you guys opened up, Colton was really quick in introducing you all that I missed all the names. He went so fast. I didn't get a chance to grasp who was what your roles were going to be, etc. So next time, just take the time, maybe add a chart, one slide to say who the team is. And if you have different roles, I'm the VP Finance, et cetera, at least it puts us in context and we understand who it is. Love the use of the SOAR chart. It was very good. It's basically a SWOT analysis, which is what we do in our business all the time. So it was good. It put me in context. It helped a lot. Thank you. You had whoever designed it had a tracking bar at the bottom of the presentation where it would track one to the other, so what the different ideas were. But near the end, it was bouncing back and forth, where it should have been sequentially. If we're going in one direction, it should have stayed there. So, because when you represented one of your first slides, your executive summary at the end, I wouldn't have called it an executive summary. I would have just said, here's how we hit the targets we identified, and then summarize how you identified your point in one slide. Here were the issues. Here's how we did it. All the information we were looking for the engineering was in your backups. And I went back and we were given your presentations afterwards, and I saw it all, your breakdown and how you built up your costs and all that. Sometimes an image is worth 1,000 words. So if you would have brought those forward, it would have helped us. The risk quad chart, the risk chart was very good, except I wouldn't say cybersecurity is weak, is low risk, when in today's environment, it's considered one of the highest risks out there, from phones to laptops and everything else. So be careful if you're quantifying cybersecurity. I wouldn't put it in the bottom right. I'd put it in the top left box as the highest risk, or top right box, high risk, high probability kind of. If you had a good solution, you had a good mitigation for it, but make sure you properly quantify it. Make sure when you're talking, you're perfectly centered to your camera. Had you been in front of the audience, we would have seen you. We wouldn't have had to see things like that. So we would see you in front of us and not see my hands floating around. But other than that, very good. I understood the presentation. I understood at the very beginning what the problem was, and then how you walked us through it. And then certain things started missing, etc. And just review your cost model with your business owners, because getting a 7% revenue may or may not be palatable to some. So maybe different solution models, etc., for the future. So you have to take in their costs into consideration, because they're carrying all the electricity, and now you're making them use more electricity at a time that they don't use it. And where we are, electricity costs a lot because of the heating, etc. So that's it for me, unless Lilia and Geraldine have some final comments. Thank you guys. You did a very good job. And I know it's a long day for you guys, but there's always tomorrow, even longer.
I appreciate it. Those are, it's always nice to hear these points. Things that you don't necessarily think about during a case sometimes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, and good luck.
Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
And Friday.
All the days.
Get some sleep.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Consulting. Hi, Rise Consulting. Just a friendly reminder, if you can please change your names on Zoom to your team name dash your name. And just a breakdown of the presentation. So we're going to have a 15-minute presentation followed by a 15-minute Q&A period. And then we're going to move into respective breakout rooms where the judges will have a 10-minute deliberation period. And then we'll come back to the main room for a 10-minute feedback period. So I'll be showing placards. Are these visible to everyone?
Yes.
So I'll be showing placards showing the remaining time left. So I have a 10-minute placard, a 5-minute placard, a 1-minute placard, and then when your time is up, I have a 0-minute placard. So one of your team members can share their screen.
Yeah, I will be doing that. So welcome, judges. I see one familiar face. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I am very, very laggy right now. I'm just gonna make sure that I am presenting right screen. Sorry. Sorry about this. Are you guys seeing my screen?
No.
Not yet.
Okay, let me try that one more time. It's saying I need to quit Zoom to re-enable this. Do I have the time to do that, or should I tell a teammate to do this instead?
Up to you. You have time to quickly log out and sign in.
Okay, give me, I think it's 2-3 minutes. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. What's the meeting ID for this link? Because the other Zoom closed down and I don't have this.
It's ENGCOMM.ca/division3.
ENGCOMM.ca/division3. Okay, I'm going to quit and come right back.
Well, nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you guys. So now the penalty is one of you guys has to sing and dance for us.
Oh, we'll gladly take that. We'll all sing and dance for you.
And if it's bad, it affects your scores. So
But what if it's good?
then it can go to the other way.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be recorded and cast, right? We can watch this later.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
So after all presentations are done, the YouTube live stream will become public, so you can watch back the presentations.
Sounds good.
So I see that Kurosh is back.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Are you able to share your screen now?
Yes, I just need to make sure I'm sharing the right one. Are you seeing anything?
Yes, we see your screen.
Full screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. All right, guys, you ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Ready to go.
Yep.
Awesome. Timer starts when we go. Perfect. Hello, judges. Welcome. We are Rise Consulting. We're here on behalf of Workden, and we're here to present to you Rework. My name is Kurosh. I'm here with Yash, Kyle, and Rupayan. And today we're going to be presenting a paradigm shift in distributed and remote work through accelerated innovation to create WAS, workspaces as a service. Now, so when we were first analyzing the case, we realized that Workden requires an experience consistency, paramount privacy, and brand images. We realized that current workspaces fail to provide this effective, repeatable, and low-cost work environment due to the large capital cost, as well as the presence of vacant office space and a lack of community. Workden must continue to take risks, innovate, and pursue avenues that offer consistent work experiences, enhance brand image, and offer a creative approach to privacy. Now, the current landscape involves Workden, the hospitality partner, and the Workden user. Now, the employees inside Workden are focusing on providing simple workspaces on extra space and dedicated to growing their customer base. And their equipment revolves around Wi-Fi, basic refreshments, and some power components. And the hospitality partners essentially are required to have additional work, likely without an increase of pay, and it's a critical time-based setup and tear down activity to ensure the shared effectiveness of the establishment. And now, lastly, as a B2B person, as a B2B client, what you would require is temporary and effective space to conduct your business operations, but also easily initiated and torn down. And from a B2C perspective, which we're also including Series A funding and small entrepreneurs, you just need clean, new, and cheap space in order to set up your teams and set up your structure. Now, we highlighted these areas of improvements and that we need to provide additional business services to B2C and small cap companies, which include accounting, legal, IT, comms, design, needs to be provided at a cost-efficient and a private way. And not only do we need to offer them this, we need to focus on bringing the brand and the feeling of community and collaboration into view. On top of this, it needs to be simple, quick, tech-enabled, that is plug and play for both the users and the company itself. And we're going to be incorporating simple but very low-cost feng shui to keep unity between all the different Workden establishments. Now moving on, Kyle will walk us through our user journeys.
So first, we went through the user journey of a simple single user. From there, we took the initial current state of where we are right now. We took into account the emotional needs and the physical needs and where we want to end up in a desired state. So for this specific user, we found that the very important thing was the secure and private booths. There was very few locations and no uniformity between the locations. So taking in the emotional and physical needs of safety, security, and a very high productive atmosphere, we found that where we really want the desired state to be is we want it to be more comfortable than if they were working from home, for it to be cost effective, and of course, an accessible variety of different spaces that they can use, whether individually or multiple groups. Next.
Yep.
We then went on to the other user, which is the restaurants themselves. These are the partners that will be with Workden creating these workspaces. So we found, using the exact same process, we went through and found the current state, which we found to be that the workspaces themselves are very open. They're accessible to large different kinds of layouts and formats. However, that also means that there's no real consistency between the different locations, and that the spaces that we're currently using are vacant at those times. So for example, they're vacant during the days, being used for different avenues during the evenings and nights. So as the same as before, we went through the emotional and physical needs. We found that very important needs of these restaurants is they want the new process during the day to be non-intrusive to their regular business hours, and that leads into very easy setup and takedown of these Workden areas. So we found that their desired state would then be that they need to, of course, they need to add the income from providing these spaces. But a real important thing would be recognition of being a part of this Workden group and providing this new service. And of course, it needs to be easily converted to and from the Workden workspaces. So we then looked at the user market. So we found that for remote employers, the number of employees working remotely is increasing dramatically, especially since 2020 due to COVID and lockdowns. We then found that the market sector it is really moving towards a more flexible, higher variety of office spaces. The B2B clients makes up a vast majority of the user market for Workden, but this needs to now be moved slightly more towards the B2C clients, and specifically the startups. There's a massive amount of startups that are growing in Canada, and those customers need to be addressed by this new option. So here we just have a very quick market analysis where we're showing that compared to the competitors for Workden, the Workden is in a very unique place where it is highly affordable since they are renting out previous locations and not having to create new retail space. And that also gives them a very high availability of many locations that they can use. So these are the requirements that were given to us by Workden. So they want a very high user experience using that is going to be a lot more cost effective than their competitors. They want the high comfort areas that are comfortable and unique, but also unified between all of their different locations. With that comes branding, where being recognized as a Workden area is incredibly important and paramount. And with that comes privacy and soundproofing, where users know that when they go to these locations, they will be secure, they will receive a great atmosphere for working and adequate silence, and the unwavering consistency, which is again the brand. There needs to be a unified brand between all these places. This is just a very quick rundown of the solution requirements. So it needs to be highly scalable, simple to set up, and affordable are the key points, and all that needs to be included with the brand image. So for the design alternatives, we came up with operational business services. These are going to be connecting with additional businesses such as accounting firms, legal firms, HR services that can work with your Workden users. These can be rented out on a time-based method to create a much more user-friendly experience. There's going to be private and secure workspaces. So these are going to provide a low-cost solution to privacy. We'll be using branded equipment. We'll be using branded equipment and ambiance. This will guarantee the name of Workden gets used. Oh.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, it's okay.
What's happening?
It just skipped a slide. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, everyone. That will go into the individual, group, and work pods. So we want to offer different for individual experiences and group experiences. And there's, of course, going to be the permanent shared partnership with new companies that can help them push their name out there, establish further partnerships, and possibly move to a nationwide establishment. So here we just have a very quick rundown of the decision matrix. We found that the very most important things for Workden to focus on is, of course, the user experience and the scalability of these projects. So, yeah.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on. So to address these requirements, we came up with a three-pronged solution. A solution that's based on brand awareness, work privacy, and partnership. So for brand awareness, we're looking at ideas like on-site branded items and tiered goodies for customers. And for work privacy, we're looking at a reserved private area for each location. We'll go into more detail in a bit. And for partnership, we're looking to partner with professional service businesses, universities, retail stores like Staples to provide exceptional support. All in all, combine these three together, and we're looking at continued growth, customer acquisition, and possibility for revenue generation. So let's break these solutions down a bit. When we're talking about on-site items, we're talking about stuff like branded USB hub with charging cables, branded mics, webcams, desk lamps. These are relatively inexpensive objects that can be used at the workspace and that can be given custom Orange Workden branding. And along with that, tiered goodies are stuff people would be taking home. So for example, goodies for taking a monthly pass, you might get an offer for the establishment or something small like a battery bank. For daily pass, you might get something like stationery, but the key is that it's all branded so that the brand goes outside. Can you go back? Yeah. So the brand can reach outside of the Workden workplace. As for private areas, we're looking at a reserved private area for private conversations with portable curtains and folding walls for visual privacy. And this would be placed a little ways away from all the other workers. Again, calculations up ahead. In terms of partnerships, we're looking to utilize services offered by accounting, legal, finance, operations, IT firms, or even in-house hired staff at the location to provide B2C and all users on-the-fly business support. And we'd also continue to foster relationships with restaurants and venues to provide a limitless supply for professional and beautiful workspaces. Next slide, please. So let's take a little more technical look at the soundproofing part here. So how loud is human speech? So human speech is a normal conversation is 60 decibels at 1 foot distance. Now, a bit of a softer conversation would be 50 decibels, and a whisper is 30 decibels. So if we take the fall off of the conversation's loudness or the distance, it's basically a decreasing formula with the inverse square law from the source of the sound. So if you're looking at 50 decibels at 1 foot or 0.3 meters, you're looking at 30 decibels at 3 meters. And so therefore, we decided that the private areas that we're talking about here must be located at least 3 meters away from nearby workers. so that it's not really audible to anyone working nearby. And as for visual privacy, we'll be using a room divider around the private area, and this also helps dampen the sound. And it's always nice to have like a visual privacy thing so people can't really see what you're saying as well. So let's look at some of the benefits of the solution. So obviously with on-site items, we're looking at an increased value of the Workden service, customer convenience, brand loyalty on behalf of the customers. Similar with tiered goodies, you're looking at increased brand awareness when the branded item leaves the workspace and someone else sees it, they'll know what Workden is, and customer satisfaction. With the private area, the benefits are that it's a very low cost approach to privacy, no need for sound panels, expensive sound equipment, no need for proprietary technology. It's very low cost and it's applicable to any location. And lastly, for partnerships, you're providing a high level of professional business services to customers. And this is just like a visual depiction of, on the left, we have images actually from Workden of what the current environments look like. And obviously we can't come up with like a complete mock-up of the full branding items, but we just wanted to show like some of the items that would be added and would be branded to Workden.
Let's see that slide. Okay.
Going on to our implementation on the timeline on how this will proceed. Year one, we would be joining new partnerships, reestablish existing apps. Year two, we would go on to expand the brand by unifying materials and appliances used in locations. Going on to year three, enter into a national partnerships to move forward into province services. And then going into year five, gain partnership with chains that can offer Workden spaces in many locations nationwide. Next slide. So going over the risk matrix of our solution in correlation of the different users of the corporate partners and individual users and small startups that will be implemented in the solutions, there's being spied on in the inside private area as well for loss of on-site branded items, and people as well with the consideration people not being satisfied with branded items. Next slide. And the social impact of our solution would be there would be more community engagement, local service recognition, brand recognition, and for growing partnerships with the local businesses and retail stores in future partnerships. As for the environmental impact, there was little to few, but with the high real estate properties, reusing the properties that we already have reduces at a sufficient cost instead of buying property, as well for confined clean workspaces that the users will be working in, as well no addition for construction of new property, as you can just reuse the ones that you already have.
I apologize, Rise Consulting, your time is up. So we will now.
Thank you for taking a listen to that. We unfortunately missed the finance and the business plan, but there's quite a bit of slides on this, so I hope we can use the majority of the Q&A to maybe go through some of the business use cases here that we did have, but unfortunately do. Please go ahead.
So now we'll begin a 15-minute Q&A period. So judges, whenever you're ready, I'll start the time when you ask the first question.
Okay, yes, I'd like to see the financials, please.
Absolutely. Would you like me to run through them, or would you like to just see them quickly?
Specifically, I just want to ask you, how do you envision financial growth, your projections based on what the case gave us?
Yeah. So this slide right here is very important to digest because this is looking at a single store, and this would be the cost to outfit the store, what's the break-even quantity using the services. So we would have about 40,000 visits, right, representing 40,000 users that would use various services between $25 to $250 an hour, which we used a modest average of 60%. If you want to see how the component costs build up, we have the financial breakdown. The essentials kit basically involves everything that would be on a user's desk, right? The rental equipment is, for example, a team requiring a whiteboard, a projector, or batteries. The design and feng shui comes to the elements where we said we want unity across all the establishments. Instead of trying to revise and make desks folding tables, we're going to use design elements to give that blend. And then for the privacy and soundproofing, we could have gone with very expensive $5,000-$6,000 individual pods. But as Yash mentioned, due to the way the physics of the sound work, we actually just need simple dividers. The most important thing is the support staff coming in at $2.4 million. And we were asked to be bold, risk-taking, and creative. And instead of maybe adjusting what happens at the store level, we were suggesting hiring a big support staff onto the Workden team, and then maybe having the users at the facility maybe talk to an accountant, talk to a finance member, talk to someone legal, which all helps boost their B2C business, which in the case it mentioned, as their B2C business grows, their B2B business increases as a result higher. So what we were trying to target is basically not only having an affordable environment for each establishment, because $22,000 realistically for a company is not a lot for their capital cost. And then the support staff would be basically sent out to all their 9 locations. And throughout those 9 locations, it's very easily to justify spending this money.
How many locations? Yeah, you did. Thank you. How many locations do you envision them have in 2 years, let's say, provided the pandemic is over?
Right. So I'm sorry that I'm answering all these questions. My team is very good with the technical side, but I guess the finances need to be cleared up. It's very important to understand both the climate that we're in right now and the climate of Workden. So Workden has 3 shops open right now. And by the end of this year, it's going to be going up to 9, right? Which they're already going to be dealing with a huge 3 times growth. But what we've consistently realized is that due to the pandemic, and especially in Montreal, I was able to take a look at the real estate, is that they're having huge business vacancies. And, it sounds a little predatory, but this is the perfect opportunity to maybe come in and get some prime rates on real estate, where let's say, initially they were only expecting to expand out to 20 units. Right now, due to COVID, because vacancies are so high and rental rates are low, instead of actually expanding a little bit, we want them to expand a lot, 30, 40, 50 locations. As long as their internal staff supports it, they should grow. And they've mentioned this many times throughout the case, that growth is their primary objective. And that's what we were trying to create for them, a modular structure that can easily scale for every $22,000 they have.
And just to add to that quickly, growth during COVID-19. I didn't mention this in the partnerships part, but essentially right now, a lot of schools, universities, and work campuses are empty. And what Workden can offer is that in exchange for students being able to use their workplaces, other people can use the empty lecture halls or examination halls or any work campus workspaces that are currently being unused at all. So they're not making money off it anyway. So a partnership like this could be formed and allow Workden to continue growing and scaling throughout COVID.
Okay, thank you.
Hi guys, well done. Really interesting presentation. Could you, flip back to that revenue slide, please?
Absolutely. This one or the one before it?
Yeah, so the next one was the costs. So so 40,000 visits per location brings who to break-even point? Workden or the restaurant, or say the
So sorry, the restaurant outside, to the best of our knowledge, the restaurant kind of acts independent. Once we pay them that money, they may be able to provide some beverages or something, but they're kind of out of the picture. This 40,000 comes from 5% of the 800,000 estimated total yearly visits. And normally people use a 2% capture rate, but when you have motivated working individuals, we felt 5% is a modest enough example. And 5% of the total visits, if they were to just conduct 2 hours of professional services, that establishment would break even. We didn't want to give a timeline. We didn't want to necessarily give set facts and points because of the nature of the company Workden is itself. Their profit margin is not really necessarily in their view. What's really in their view is their growth and their number of locations. And what we wanted to do is create an easy enough package that is both cheap enough, but also very realistic between all their locations. 40,000 visits over 9 locations is very, very low. And the way we came out to it is that the average establishment will have between 120 to 150 seating capacity. And throughout the day, we estimated that it's going to swap between between 2 to 3 times. And based on that is where we arrived at our $800,000 number. So this break even results in from spending this for the storefront, and then after 40,000 approximate visits, you would have your essentially fee repaid, excluding the professional service setup. But because the professional service setup is company-wide, that would be more of a long-term commitment.
Okay. And then how much is the customer paying to use this Workden location, excluding the professional services side?
Oh, looks like he's. Korish, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, he's totally gone.
He froze.
Joe, do you want to go down a different line of questioning, and then we can come back to that?
I was more in your risk matrix. Your risk matrix seems to be more focused on the branding and the locations and stuff, and not the actual potential risks that are associated with using these types of environments, such as cybersecurity and protecting somebody's computer or data from being hacked or taken from on a, it's not a private, but on a public band Wi-Fi. So what are you proposing, or what are you looking at for that?
Should I take that one then?
Go for it if you want to, yeah.
So the Wi-Fi services that are going to be offered by Workden will most like will be their own Wi-Fi network that are their own portable Wi-Fi network that'll be set up there with a Wi-Fi service that's offered by a company that they'll be working with. So the cybersecurity will come with the internet service that they will work with.
Okay, so that will be provided by the location and not by Workden.
It will have to be decided whether by Workden or the location.
Okay.
So exact like encryption and all that stuff was outside the current solution we presented, because we realized our solution was already extremely broad, covering like 3 different areas. And we thought that adding more would just dilute the quality of our solutions rather than like add even more. So we wanted to at least be able to flesh everything out rather than provide a solution for everything. Although you do raise a very valid point about cybersecurity.
Yeah. And then the other one I have is on the cost of the support staff. I realize that building a team to offer a service to your B2C customers and potentially growing out to your B2B customers, at the outset, it's a pretty hefty staff. You're looking at 25 people, 2.4 million for an annual growth, plus overheads, plus incidentals and all the other costs that go with it, vacation, etc. That's a significant burden that has to be paid by the users. And I still don't get a clear grasp of your daily or monthly rate. Did I miss it in your presentation?
Korish, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's terrible on my part. What I was trying to answer before I got disconnected is that Workden already provides their rates. We're not changing Workden's existing operation. What they've asked us is how can we improve it? So Workden right now offers $10 for a single day use, and I believe $30 for a 5-day package. What we're talking about with the support staff is additional revenue that customers of Workden can purchase while they're at office. And I understand that $2.43 million is a lot of money. And this is something that we're obviously going to be scaling out. We're not going to all of a sudden hire 5 accounting. We're going to basically base this out over, if we have 10 users, 20 users, 40 users, 50 users. It's just kind of showing what an approximate approximate medium-sized support team would be based on the rough approximation of their users.
Okay. Okay. I have no more. Geraldine, you still had one, eh?
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying there now, that you're not changing the existing model, you're kind of building on top of it, which, yeah, I get that.
Exactly.
So just so I understand, so if you go back to the slide you were on a second ago.
No problem.
So you see the essentials kit is coming in at $105 per kit, and you were saying that on an average day, you'd have potentially 120 customers per venue, and that might flip, say, 3 times. So you'd need 40 kits potentially 40 kits per location.
These are one-time purchases.
Yeah.
Right. So
who bears that cost?
Yeah. This is Workden. This is what I was explaining in this slide. Is that for each storefront, it's going to cost them $21,000. And you're going to see that it's the summation of the essentials kit, the rental equipment, the design, and the privacy. So every single facility, Workden is going to place this for them in order for them to improve their original business, which is just the space issue, which is what they first came up with us. And they said, how?
Oh, there we go again. I'll pick up.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Josh.
Sorry, I was just saying, as he's saying, like, this isn't dependent on how many customers are coming in and out. It's just a one-time investment that you put in, and people will be using those, but it'll be shared equipment that you get when you go to your desk or furnishings nearby.
So what I'm trying to figure out then, Yash, is who takes that cost, the $22,000?
So Workden, yes.
Workden.
Yes.
So Workden owns all of this equipment.
Yes, and it's all part of increasing the branding and uniformity of Workden as requested by the requirements in the case.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just hop on for one additional fact on there? The reason why we want Workden to take on this cost is because they're having issues with having some uniformity at the restaurant level. And we didn't want to suggest them buy tables and increase and add to the setup. Instead, what we wanted to do is where that cleaning staff, instead of pulling away all their tables and chairs and replacing it, all they need to do is go and take a box that has all these hubs, put it on their desk, right? If they don't want to keep the plant and the mood lighting always available, it's very easy to move a small plant into location versus moving an entire giant desk and setting that up. This is why we think Workden will actually bite for a solution like this, because we realize that the majority of the solutions that are available in the marketplace involve very expensive pods or remodeling. What we wanted to do is have the essentials, the privacy, and the feng shui to be as cheap as possible, so we can convince them to spend money on business services that actually increase their revenue. Because $10 or $100 a week is nothing when it pales in comparison if you have people like me, who's an entrepreneur, able to have access to this kind of level of services at that price on the demand. That's where we think they can grow their revenue. This, where we're using the different design elements, is how they're going to have their growth for their locations.
We're trying to keep that lean model just like Workden has, and not really bloat it, and continue with the company culture.
Yeah, super. No more from me. Oh, well, our time's up.
No worries. I'm just going to show the last slides that you guys weren't able to see, which is the stakeholder value, our future plans, and we had a few little appendix slides, but I'm happy to take any more questions as well.
Yeah, same.
Unfortunately, thank you, Rise Consulting. So the Q&A period just finished. So now we'll be getting moved into our respective breakout rooms so the judges can deliberate for 10 minutes, and then we'll rejoin back here for 10 minutes of feedback.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry for all the technical issues as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Hi again.
Hi, everyone. So is everyone here? I think we're, oh, no, we are all Rise Consulting are here. So I will begin the timer for feedback whenever the judges are ready.
Is everybody there? Oh, there's Kurash now. Kurash. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
It's okay. Kurash, all of that works.
Oh, he's got the scarf on now. Look at that.
I do.
Awesome. Well, guys, I'm going to start off, and great presentation. A lot of slides. You guys did a lot in the little time that you had. One question. Did you guys rehearse your presentation, or did you not get a chance to rehearse it?
No, we had not even one
chance.
No.
Okay. That's very important when you do big presentations. Sometimes you have a big presentation and then you know you have a finite amount of time. Then you have to figure out what needs to be cut, what doesn't, where should I focus?
Absolutely.
We've had the same comment to some other teams. Don't read the slides. We can read them as fast as you, if not faster sometimes. So present your thoughts. You don't need to put everything into a slide. Sometimes images are worth 1,000 words. So just a little bit less is sometimes worth a lot more, and talk on it versus reading it to us.
We didn't want to. Oh, sorry. I apologize.
Go on.
We never wanted to read the slides or like do any of that. It's just that we never had a chance to practice a presentation. And the thing is, first time presenting it without even like presenting to yourself, you kind of just default to reading the slides. But even despite the fact that you do a lot of research and like have a lot of ideas regarding it.
Yeah.
So apologies for that. We'll rectify it for tomorrow.
Yeah. So just, sometimes, you're presenting in 15 minutes. Rule of thumb is a slide per minute. So that's just what we use in our business is if you got 15 minutes, no more than 15 slides. And that includes your intro and your closeout at the end. So I liked your introduction. You took the time and introduced all the members. We didn't get a chance to go through it. That's okay. But you did answer our questions. And just sometimes you guys really thought outside the box in some of the areas, which was good. You offered a better solution. So, or a bigger solution for what the company was looking for. So thank you very much. So wish you luck for the rest of the competition. I'll pass you off to the other judges. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll go next. Well, guys, your visuals were very impressive, beautiful slides. They were packed with content, lots of content. So a lot of good work was done in preparation to this presentation. And I want to commend you for that. It was beautiful. A couple of things that you did really well. It's great, guys, that you thought about the relationship between B2C and B2B and really spent some time talking about it. That was very good. It's great that you thought about marketing and branding and different ways how you can create a consistent brand image, because the case particularly asked for that. That was well done as well. There was a little bit, the reason you ran out of time, to me at least it felt so, is because you reiterated some of the information, just looked at it from different angles, applied this framework and that framework, and it felt at least that every framework you could ever think of, you just put on there, and that's why it wasn't necessary to, it was a little bit excessive. If you spent a little bit of time, less time on your analysis and put a little bit more time into other parts, it would have benefited your presentation more. There were a lot of buzzwords and, like business language, a lot, but sometimes it felt that it was maybe more than necessary, and time could have been allocated elsewhere. It's great that you thought about the customer journey. Your market analysis was strong, and it's great that you thought about projections, the growth of this sector, the opportunity that is there. You made the good effort putting financials together, thinking about costs, just the thinking process of it, whether or not there were certain things that could be questioned on your financials. These are estimates, projections. They're never 100% accurate, but the effort, the exercise you went through was very much appreciated. What your presentation could have benefited from as well is thinking more a little bit technically from engineering point of view. The engineering component wasn't as developed as the business one. You guys spent some time talking about soundproofing and researching it, thinking about it, but your solution was, at least the way I understood it, let's put the users 3 meters apart. Well, it's not really economical or efficient, right? From the business point of view, or the best use of space, or at least that's how it came across to me as a solution. So yes, what I would suggest is just developing more the innovative business, engineering side. And what was also great is that you thought about sustainability and ethics. You spent some time thinking about that, and that was an important component as well. So this is my feedback, and overall you did a lot of good work in such a short period of time.
Can I say something?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Firstly, thank you so much. And I sincerely apologize for the miscommunication that may have occurred, but we weren't saying to separate all users by 3 meters. It was to have one specific area that was designated for private conversations, because while you're working, you don't always need it. Just like Workden is utilizing unused workspaces, we're utilizing the fact that not everyone always needs a private conversation. Only a few people need it. So they can just go to that area and have their privacy and then come back. And that's what allows it to be cheap. And again, sorry that wasn't conveyed.
No problem. It's good that you clarified that. Now it's clear.
I was going to clarify the technical solution as well. We were really trying to find an actual hardcore technical solution, but based on what stage of their life this company is in, not to mention what the case details said, if $2.5 million to develop engineering for a support staff that brings immediate revenue is a lot of money, right? Putting out a lot of capital to maybe create these individual workspaces or works pods, we decided to just pretty much immediately go against that, because there's better off-the-shelf solutions that meet the company's needs rather than let's just say the needs of the competition. We were trying to answer it as if we were like contracted by Workden and give them a solution they could actually use, rather than creating something that it would not have any business viability. Yeah. But I really appreciate the feedback. The end of that all of it was very good for our use for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Excellent. I just want to give a chance to Geraldine to.
Yes, absolutely. Please, we'd like everyone's.
You're on mute, Geraldine.
Yet again. Hi guys, listen, well done. Really great presentation, as the others have said, and I'm gonna try not to repeat at all. Congratulations on being so audacious with your proposal. You know, in terms of literally saying, no, the answer here isn't an engineering solution, right? So you did, for me, you know, you took a chance, and well done for having the guts to go for it. However, if you go back and look at your slides and look at the journey that you're taking, say, us through, it's not clear that that's going to be part of your solution until it's presented. Okay, so you've got to, again, it's kind of going back to this point. So you've got to make sure your story flows and you're bringing somebody on the journey with you. Okay, so, and Josh, as you were saying there, clarifying there for Lilia, because you spent so long on the problem statement effectively and the solution analysis, alternatives, etc., you really were running out of time, which is why you didn't get enough time to talk through your solution proposal properly. So make sure to manage your time. You own this presentation. It's the one, you can't control the Q&A piece, but you can definitely control the presentation. Okay, so give yourselves enough time to practice it. Okay. 1 minute, right. Also, I know we're all working virtually, you're not on a stage, but you have to treat this as if you're on a stage. So, Yash, don't move around like this on your chair. Like you're literally moving side to side the entire time.
I sincerely apologize. That would not be happening
It's
if I
okay.
was standing on stage. I assure you
Yeah,
that.
no, yeah. So, but
It's
you
a
know what?
habit.
You're gonna. So just notice that,
Thank
Rupial, you are constantly looking at the ceiling.
Oh, no.
Look,
My monitor is up there. That's why.
look at your camera.
Okay.
So it looks like you're looking at me, even though you're not.
All right. Yeah.
Kyle, pretty good at sitting still. Kurash, you literally move from side to side all the time. So for you, stand in front of a mirror and give part of the presentation and try not to move. Pretend you're a news presenter, okay? Do not move.
Was
It's
it a
really
lot of
distracting.
a lot of this shifting?
Yeah, all of this. So
Yeah.
we're not singing a song. You're presenting. You're pitching.
Yeah.
But yeah, well done, guys. It was really enjoyable.
Thank you
So-
again for the
Appreciate
feedback.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Rise, the consultant.
Get some sleep.
Good luck.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Take care.
Let's meet back on Discord, guys.
So judges, we're just going to move to the other breakout room.
Yep.